Vodafone presents the pre-match.
G'day everyone, welcome back to the ESL Pro League, day number 2 for North America. It's Elfish Guy and Karath, and we just watched Renegades up against compLexity. We thought that was going to be a pretty interesting match, fairly close perhaps. Maybe Renegades could make something happen against compLexity, and they did. Double OT victory there for Renegades on Dust 2. Now we move to Mirage. This is compLexity's map pick, so this is where they want to kind of bounce back and get some more points on the board for themselves.
And simply, this is Renegades. Well, Renegades are quite proficient at Mirage themselves, so it's not as if this is a one and done. This is in the bag for compLexity. And I mean, just looking back at Dust 2 as well, I think it showed the character of Renegades, this lineup where they were down 15-10 at one stage, they were able to claw the way back up. Double overtime didn't matter because they were able to get the advantage and close out the match from there. But I mean, a couple of questions that do need to be asked from compLexity at this stage. A little bit of leeway can be given considering they have been able to put on a couple of past results. I wouldn't look too much into this just yet, but it's positive starts for Renegade, and for compLexity, probably just needs to tighten up a couple of things.
Yeah, absolutely. Time to check in with our friends at Betway once again, Kevin, to see how the odds are shaping up. And this time, they're a little bit closer than the last. I would have made a little bit of money. I would have said, put a little bit of money on Renegades, which I did before the start of the last map. And, well, they won. Now, $1.80, $1.85, I think that's pretty reasonable. You know, to me, this kind of feels like a 50-50 kind of a map. You look at it in the past, and fairly recently, actually, compLexity did beat Renegades on it. That was in the New York qualifiers for the North America region. That said, though, that was the old Renegades, and that old Renegades did sort of struggle a little bit on Mirage toward the end of their tenure. Now with these new players in their roster, again, we're talking a lot about Renegades, but these are the guys that we know. Liaz and Gratisfaction have come from the Oceanic region, which is where we predominantly do cast for, and we know Gratisfaction and Liaz both really, really like this this map in particular. Gratisfaction loves going aggressive into mid on the CT side with the orb, doing that little jump boost out from window, take the peek into mid through the smoke, all in around the smoke from connector, that kind of thing. So he's going to be very, very potent on the CT side, I feel, for Renegades. And obviously, Leo is such a strong defender on the B bomb site, which he has now been paired with JKS, interestingly enough. Both of them, to me, have always felt like an anchor as opposed to a rotator from that B bomb site. So I kind of have to keep an eye on as to who's actually going to be the first one to rotate across from that B bomb site. But I do think even now, that B bomb site is going to be very, very strong for Renegades on the CT side as well. I'm talking a lot about the CT side, but I think that's where Renegades are going to find a lot of success here on Mirage.
Yeah, they probably are going to be starting the CT side as well. Just a quick question. Are we going to be talking about the results on the mainstream as well, or not as...
I mean, we can talk about it if you want.
The reason why I wanted to bring it up and actually probably favor Renegades at this particular point is that Ghosted managed to actually take that 16-12 victory over NRG, which is, in my mind, quite a big, a decent upset.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
I think this is now starting to slowly trend, is that we're seeing with a lot of the teams that have gone overseas, like your NRG, like your compLexity at this stage, that's, to me, it feels like they're maybe taking this period as maybe a bit of a break, because it doesn't look as ship tight as we normally see. Like, this is completely different from, say, for example, you chuck them into a major or overseas tournament. I think they've just come back. They're taking this time to recuperate, and I think this is the best chance of Renegades to strike at the moment, where compLexity a little bit looser, a little bit not as tight in terms of their gameplay or their team play. Their aim isn't on point for all their players. All right, Renegades, they need to take this 2-0 today, because they need to secure as many points as possible before they start hitting some of the stronger opponents like your Liquids. I mean, like your NRG when they come back in form, because I honestly believe that Ghost 16-12, yes, Ghost have been playing very well recently, but NRG...
NRG should win that match.
In my mind, theoretically. Obviously, we weren't able to watch it. We don't have a four
Clear
minds.
picture, yeah.
But
strike while the iron is hot, so to speak, here for Renegades. And compLexity so far have left the door open a little bit too wide for Renegades. They took advantage of it on Dust 2. compLexity, you would look at that map and say they should have closed it out, given they were up at 15-10 at one point. They couldn't get the job done, so kudos to Renegades. Credit where it's due, starting on the CT side now of Mirage. And we are, of course, going to be seeing Gratisfaction play mid. He'll be forced off the line by the utility there, but still a little bit of damage. Shazam gets tagged up, Stanislaw as well. Look at all of that damage, I think done just by Gratisfaction. Maybe some of the players in connector as well. Actually, Gratisfaction very quick on the rotate, so it must have been the A players. Still, all that damage doesn't result in too many kills just yet, as compLexity now have control of the bomb site, as it was able to trade back Stanislaw at least to 3 versus. Do the heavy lifting here. Gratisfaction will be sent out first, There's a bit of an info play from Market. Actually, Azza finds one from short. JKS drops. Gratisfaction cannot find the trade, and he himself is actually traded. Azza now has no HP to work with, so needs some very sharp headshots and won't get them. The pistol round goes the way of compLexity.
The Renegades are able to do a ton of damage to that connector position as they were just spraying through the smoke, able to connect a few shots. But unfortunately, Liaz by himself at that B-bomb site, unable to continue the damage, unable to try to bring it into a favorable situation. And by that stage, it was a little bit too late to come forward and try and get the damage done from there. Renegade's actually not going to go for the armor and pistol, deciding to get just a little bit of utility, Azza. Probably the one that can afford a little bit more. So he's got it for body armor, a P250 and a flashbang. Still has a decent amount of money in reserve. And AKs now, as well as the UMP, is going to be trying to reign supreme. They're cleaning up on the A site on the A site split. And there you go, the AKs cleaning up.
Azza's got a UMP. That's always nice. See if he can find some more kills with that. Build up a bit of cash. Or just back out, use it in the next round. Options. He does get out. compLexity aren't going to be too eager to hunt down the UMP, I can't imagine.
Don't think it was spotted, but that's actually really smart from Azza walking because most of the time you'd probably expect a T to be around Tetris, and if you actually start running from the connector into top mid, he'll be able to hear you. So now you've got the Ts, they're going to be jump spotting regardless. So I don't know if someone spotted it from connector or if they suspected Azza absconded away with a UMP.
Yeah.
But well done from Shazam to be able to realize the dangers there.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like it was going to be make or break for compLexity, but it would have been an extra bit of money in Azza's bank if he drops a couple of Ts there, forces the reinvestment. It does keep the economy low, so that would have been a fairly reasonable end to the round, actually, for Renegades, and you could almost mark it as a success if he would have found those 2 kills, or even just one of them. But Renegades don't get too much done in that one, so here comes the second eco, and now just waiting for these kind of eco rounds to fall by the wayside so that we can get stuck into the meat and potatoes of this matchup, Kevin.
And it should be a good stew to start off with, actually, in the first round, because, Ye's going to find so many at the moment, but he's already tagged down quite low, so he's dead.
Yeah, Grenade not able to be let loose in time. Def now has the job of hanging onto control of the gun, and he does that very, very well indeed. Nice work from Def. 3-0, compLexity starting off well, but first gun round out for Renegades now. Gratisfaction straight onto the AWP. And I am very excited to see what he will be able to do with that and where he's going to go to start things off. Are we going to see the trademark CT aggression with the AWP from Gratisfaction, or is he going to play a little bit more passive toward connector? See if he jumps out into mid. Actually, he's going to the B-bomb site.
A lot of utility for the CTs to play around with in the this first round in particular, but the problem is they've only got a single kit, and that's going to be in the hands of Gratisfaction. AWP has come out in the hands of Shazam as well. Double connected control coming out from the CT side as well. Liaz as well as JCam, so maybe a few change rounds here in terms of how Renegades want to be setting up on the Mirage. As is also here at short, smoking up connector.
Well, Jacob's in a good spot, but he hasn't spotted any of those compLexity players yet. Stanislaw having a little bit of a peek into connector as well. There's a lot of presence towards mid from Renegades right now, but what they are waiting for is these smokes to dissipate or compLexity to walk into their sight lines, and that is what is going to happen. Jacob was probably the one to actually walk into Stanislaw's sight line there, but regardless, does win the aim duel. And it's a nice start for Renegades in their first gun round. Ye is having a wander on the A site, trying to make something happen, but JKS will spot him quite easily indeed. Jacob wraps up that killing connector as well. Def has managed to get into an interesting spot, but Azza well aware and ready for that. This round has looked very nice from Renegades. compLexity have just sort of fallen like flies. They haven't really offered too much resistance in this one. So now that they have a bit of a better idea as to what Renegades are going to be doing on their CT side. Gun rounds. Perhaps the next gun round will look a little different from compLexity.
Just trying to walk in and trying to make a few contact plays. Nothing wrong with that, but Renegades prioritizing a lot of attention to connector. compLexity did manage to find some success boosting up depth into window, as well as potentially clearing out the underneath that balcony position. Just food for thought for them as they move on, but Gratisfaction still watching them mid angle. Under's control is coming out though, so Gratisfaction needs to be careful, as Def is going to be there already.
Oh, nice work from Gratisfaction. Forces Def to play anti-flash and takes the peak off the timing. Will net the opening kill for Renegades in yet another round. This time, however, a little bit more dangerous toward A, as compLexity group up in Connector. Smoke down into Palace will allow Gratisfaction some room now to peek into Connector. Spots the info, decides not to take the shot. But information is power, and Renegades have quite a bit of that right now. Gratisfaction shuts down Stanislaw. Jacob lines up Android. And this is just going to be an absolute slaughter as compLexity all fall apart entering into the site. Shazam offers a little bit of resistance, does find Azza. But in the end, only one kill so far in this particular round for compLexity is not going to be enough. Shazam finds another one onto Gratisfaction. Damage is good here. Renegades don't have a huge bank of cash, but the round is still not winnable for compLexity now.
Starting off, I think, in the hands of Shazam, he's able to get himself in a safe situation. He's also denied a few rifles and will force at least Azza to reinvest. Gratisfaction will be dropped the AWP regardless. The CT economy isn't in the greatest shapes just yet, so any little chip damage that compLexity can do, it's always good. And we've seen the damage they've been able to do with pistols as well as a single AWP before, so it's not as if we can completely discount compLexity from this round.
Yeah, that was quite a dangerous round for Renegades in the last map.
But what I have to say so far is that Renegades, their CT default is looking solid against these contact style plays, but compLexity needs to start throwing maybe a few executes and really testing out how the teamwork of Renegades works out.
Yeah, certainly, and you can bet your bottom dollar that compLexity will have a couple of executes in their back pocket here for Mirage. Maybe they didn't have too much for Dust 2, being that it was not their map choice, but for compLexity, this certainly is. Renegades, again, finding the opener, courtesy of Gratisfaction. Jacob will easily find Shazam. The round hasn't been too bad, actually, for compLexity, as they've managed to find a couple of kills. This grenade will do enough to deal with Def, but the AWP, just retrievable there for Jacob. So that's pretty nice for Renegades. Full buy to come out this round, though, for compLexity, which, with the exception of Shazam. He'll just run with the Deagle.
Yeah, Deagle's on AWP. Just got to be landing the headshots. So
I don't think Gratisfaction necessarily has been dominating things just yet, but I do want to say that I think he's looking quite solid in mid with that AWP so far.
I think he's been dictating the pace for certain at mid at the moment. And compLexity, it is making compLexity think about what they need to be doing. And look at this. He's just straight watching unders right now and nearly punished by depth. There's two of them this time.
Yeah, so Gratisfaction will back away. compLexity, once again, looking to take the A-bomb side, at least judging by the position of the bomb at the moment.
But look where Jacob is.
He's in a very, very solid position now, especially given that there would be very likely a rotate from maybe even potentially the bomb if they do decide to head towards B. One way or another, though, Jacob is now in enemy territory and has an opportunity to well and truly shut this round down. Liaz just takes a peek, might have spotted them out before that smoke did go off. I don't think that's where the round is going to be decided. Jacob on this big long flank. He'll find Shazam, which is not too great of a prize, given that he's really only got the Desert Eagle. But it's info there, and he'll get himself safe into the A-bomb site. 34 seconds on the clock now. compLexity need to commit to the A site. Already lost 2 players here.
Yep, bomb also lost now. And this is the JKS killing spree. Stanislaw, oh, Stanislaw, hello. Giving a good crack, bringing it back.
Yeah, it's not the JKS killing spree anymore, it's the Stanislaw killing spree. Not sure how much longer that will last, however. As soon as the bomb does plant here, Gratisfaction will take a peek. 6 seconds on the clock. Can't even get Gratisfaction in the end. Really was no way out for Stanislaw there, unless he planted straight away after he got those 3 kills on A. Then he could have played out the 2v1 post-plant, but he wasn't to know. Renegades will get their 4th and put themselves in the lead here on Mirage. CT economy was building up nicely, but with those 3 kills in the last round from Stanislaw, things have Gotten a little bit touchier now. Still, this is what I was talking about. Gratisfaction jumping into mid. That's what he really likes to do. Doing it against the pistols to start things off. Backing up Jacob, who doesn't really need the backup.
Jacob is a loose cannon at the moment. He's just going in, and he's just preying on the weak right now. And you can see he's going in for more. Against CZs, though, much better rifles as it is. Gratisfaction copying a bit of damage.
Yeah, but it's just the pistols right now for compLexity. Azza will be there to help his New Zealand brother out. There is an M4 for Def, but he's lost all of his teammates now, as Azza will claim another one onto Ye. Knows that he does not want to be moving right now.
Doesn't really have the bomb to work with either, so that's been isolated away. He's going to have to go for damage again. Don't know how much of a prospect that really is at the end of the day, as JKS decides he's not messing around. But still, compLexity haven't been afforded the luxury, the opportunity of throwing an execute just yet, so...
Well, they've been putting a lot of premium toward mid. They've been, you know, putting a lot of presence there, lots of players in mid, and it hasn't really been working out. They could just set up for an execute straight up from T-spawn into A, but once more, compLexity are headed toward mid. This time, Gratisfaction is toward the B bomb site, so they won't have to worry about the orb in the middle, but they do still have to worry about Jacob, who has been a massive thorn in their side. He gets another 3 in the round. compLexity are just getting absolutely dominated right now on Mirage. Renegades really doing a number to them. Gratisfaction missed the shot onto Shazam, which keeps him alive for the moment, but he is well and truly stuck by that Molotov. And on 28 HP, Gratisfaction will hit the shot. 6 up for Renegades. Another good round for Renegades, and now the CT economy is looking scary.
It's not just looking scary, but it's starting to blossom out a bit out of control, where compLexity are pretty devoid for answers at the moment. Try going for the split, the super fast B split. Just doesn't work out because they don't have this connected control. Renegades prioritizing this connected control, and it's working. It's paying off dividends. It's working. It's paying off dividends. Now compLexity finally going to an A site execute, but they've got pistols. Let's see what they can get done with the Deagles and the CZs. And still impact the economy for sure.
Can. And compLexity have been pretty decent with their pistols today.
But so far, this has really been the Renegades buy-round show. Let's be realistic. Without trying to sound too biased as Aussies, the last 6 rounds have been dominating from Renegades. Haven't even looked close so far.
Yeah,
They just start making things change.
I don't think that that's an unreasonable thing to say. Jacob dropped early, however, and he has been a standout performer for Renegades today. What do the rest of the Renegades have for us? Well, JKS will get 1, Liaz another, but still, it's not so confident right now against the pistols from Renegades.
Still haven't got the bomb down yet either, so Gratisfaction, bomb is lost near sight, so it's a bit more easily retrievable, but Azza just giving enough space for the T's to work with. There's no more flashbangs, so they're going to have to just try to make contact plays, and Azza will be able to chime in at the very least, identify the position of the last player. Now, he knows that Ye also doesn't have the package. Spots him out a ticket.
Liaz would love to find this frag here because he hasn't had much to do. All the attack has been toward the A bomb site, and he's obviously the B defender. But it'll go the way of Gratisfaction, so Liaz will have to sit there content with the 2 and 6 scoreline that he has managed so far. Based on the circumstances, you can't really blame him. 7-3 though for Renegades. You don't really want to ask for any more from this CC side right now. compLexity are in all sorts, but another gun round to come. Pretty important one now for compLexity. They need to start getting their way back into this map.
Still fighting over mid at the moment, both sides. And, whoa, okay, Azza, you don't want to be jumping right now. Jacob, hello, look to your right. There is a enemy right next to you. Gratisfaction trying to find this player short, but he's blinded off. So compLexity just running straight in. And Renegades, some questionable responses.
Well, that's all gone wrong for Renegades, but JKS! The spray doesn't quite calibrate onto Stanislaw, and Shazam will shut him down in the end. Yeah, I mean, how different that round could have been had Azza not jumped. You know, what could have happened there? Now it's just Liaz, and he will relish the chance to find some frags. at least to boost that scoreline a little bit. But tough ask for him here to actually win the round in the 1v3.
Doesn't have a smoke grenade either. At least a bit of a chance if he had a smoke grenade, but he's just going to be sitting at ticket. He knows that the T's are most likely looking for a hunt.
Shazam will get it. So compLexity put a 4th on the board, but a lot of money still for Renegades. Pretty good performance from Shazam so far, 10 and 6. Needs the backup of someone else. Looking at Ye, looking at Android, the two who really did dominate Renegades at times on Dust 2. To be the ones to stand up alongside Shazam here for compLexity. But 7-4 is not a bad scoreline just yet for compLexity. All it takes is a reset to the CT economy, and then compLexity are right back into this. And that could come from this round. Renegades' money did get quite low. Gratisfaction, the only one with anything to speak of.
And they're not set up for this currently right now, this Palace push out. Jacob's the only one in position to deal with it. That's going to stall them for a bit, but... They're actually going to cancel.
They are, but are they going to commit to the cancel? Are they going to go to B? Not sure yet. Stanislaw flashes himself out in apartments. He's getting a little bit of work done, but not so much that you can 100% call the rotation yet from compLexity. At this point, feels a bit of a gamble toward that B site, but there is still a lot of grenades for compLexity, so they can set up quite nicely toward B, get the Molotovs in positions, force Liaz out of the corner.
That's the first Molotov. Liaz does have to allow them to drop into Azza. Liaz unable to get the damage down. Azza's going to have to be dancing for a while, trying to stay alive for as long as possible. He's still able to just chip out with the damage. And the CTs might be trying to push their way through, but Ye's not going to allow it. Gratisfaction decides to draw out the sidearm.
The balls to peek that with a USP, but he gets the job done. Shazam will beat him to the punch, however. And now it is JKS in a 1v2. Going through apartments. Expected by Android, as he is keeping an eye on that area of the map. A bit of time to work with here for JKS. You have to assume there is a defuse kit somewhere on this B side as well. But does not look like he is going to decide to pull the trigger here. He's going to let the round go the way of compLexity. Just try and find an exit kill, which he does succeed in doing. Keeps Shazam around as well for a little bit longer, but neither will die to the bomb. Saving that M4 through. I wonder if Renegades decide to buy up behind this. They can get the AWP on Gratisfaction, pistol and armor, perhaps for the rest of them. JKS maybe drop a UMP or something. This will be a pause, and most likely a tactical pause for Renegades, as they have to have a bit of a discussion as to where this buy will lead them.
I don't think it's the best idea to be buying at this stage, because you do need that utility. As you can clearly see that compLexity now, they're starting to step it up a little bit. They're not blindly committing, because you could probably see maybe that 2 rounds ago compLexity would have just walked out from that Palace position and just gone in. But different compLexity. They think things through a little bit more now, and they're rewarded with the rounds by hitting their shots. Only reason why I'm saying Renegades probably shouldn't buy on this is that if they eco just once, at least you'll have enough on some of your players to at least afford a rifle, armor, and 1 utility, as opposed to, alright, we're going to have to double eco after this. Always comes to the flip side. How much trust do they have in this Gratisfaction AWP, as well as how much do they have the trust in the AK, whoever is granted over. So they are going to go for this force buy. Mag 7 on Jacob. AWP's going to be on Gratisfaction's hands. It's a serviceable one, and they're going to be looking to try and do the damage. It's Gratisfaction going to be jumping out mid once again, looking to try to peer over, but Stanislaw already behind the boxes.
Gratisfaction needs to get some work done with this AWP. And more JKS have to be the catalyst for this round. JKS already spotted, but Gratisfaction spotting Shazam. A second for him as well. Jacob has dropped, but overall a favourable trade for Renegades. Mid control has been established, however, for compLexity, but I'm not sure it's going to matter now that so many kills have fallen by the wayside. Azza the push out through the A ramp. Finding Ye. He will spot Android as well. Just getting a little over-eager. But in the end, a great round for Renegades. Force buy works out. And
Yep,
that's the kind of round that can end up winning the match for you.
Yeah, they just walk into Gratisfaction's AWP and the trust is rewarded. He gets 2, and pretty much everything just falls apart for compLexity there. They're all strung apart in different areas. Their positions have been compromised. Renegades knows exactly where to rotate around and what to do from that point onwards, and they have been given a full blind this round, whereas compLexity, they have to scrounge around to see and break open the piggy banks just to afford these 2 AK-47s. Fast down to 8, no smokes just yet in JKS. One's probably the best he can hope for at this stage, and there it is.
Yeah, at least able to get the one, however. They can spam through the boxes. Nothing too solid onto Stanislaw. A little bit of damage does help, though. Gratisfaction needs help. In fact, the smoke from compLexity is going to give him a little bit more room to work with here. Grenade across won't result in any damage. The flank from Def could prove very successful, but he can't land the shots with the CZ. Fighting on all fronts, Jacob in the end is the hero for Renegades as he'll get 2 entering the bomb site. Time's ticking away, however, and Android can still win this one. 1v3 and 2 very low HP players for Renegades. Azza will win the aim duel. And Gratisfaction sticking the defuse does get the job done in the end. That was touch and go for a moment, but Renegades come away with the round.
This is where compLexity have finally thrown in a really random play, right? Because you don't generally see that too often these days. A team that's losing that just comes out dry and tries to make this contact play on A work. But this is exactly what they need to do, because Renegades otherwise has the structure around what compLexity are trying to do. Coming into the final round, once again, I mean, all the piggy banks have been broken, and they're still going to be, I don't know, panhandling to afford this buy.
A lot of utility used by compLexity. Jacob does get the kill on to Dev. Immediately traded by Stanislaw, but it's still favorable here for Renegades. And JKS finds a hole in the smoke, doesn't do too much work with it. It was actually Azza, I think, that found that hole in the smoke. But anyway, Stanislaw and Ye, the last alive. And an M4 now for Ye. So a hope for a 6th round on the T side of compLexity. But it's a tough ask. Renegades most certainly are looking for 10. Should be a very good CT half. Especially when it's not your own map pick.
But Mirage is just one of those maps where it shouldn't be, oh, it's not our map pick, etc., etc. Gratisfaction now.
Everyone's map pick, really.
See, this is what I mean. Gratisfaction is sometimes off in La La Land because you should be hearing that flashbang. You should be hearing this team wandering in. And actually a 2-on-2 now with Ye having control of CT and an AWP. Definitely winnable. Depends what magic can Azza pull out.
And these 2 players have got a couple of smokes for the Renegades. So they can smoke off CT, they can smoke off window, or jungle I should say. Liaz in the end is just going to walk on by, smoke on the bomb, defuse right now from Liaz. No one is doing anything about it, and Liaz has gotten away with murder. He'll also finish off Ye just to put the cherry on the cake there for Renegades. 10-5 is up.
That was close. Oh, that round was a lot closer, but Renegades still in the lead. There you go.
Yeah, quite a substantial lead now as well. It was 8-7 on Dust 2. Which ended in overtime. Now 10-5 the lead for Renegades, so they have quite a bit of breathing room heading onto their T side. Dangerous territory for compLexity. Again, moving on to the CT side where if your money gets reset, that can just be the end of the map. Renegades would love the pistol here. And you got to consider, compLexity got the pistol in the first half there as well.
Yep.
So that was a real demolition from Renegades.
But see, this is the problem, right? I want to say Renegades did well because they generally did well, but is that also the Aussie bias showing through?
No. You can call it how it is. Renegades did well on that first half.
Absolutely. And I think compLexity was, they just didn't really have the economy to try a bunch of different things. And as you're saying, cherry on the cakes, icing on the cake, what else to decorate cakes with? Hopefully not needles inside strawberries.
Sprinkles.
But
no one's going to get that. They're all from North America.
Maybe
I guess there's a few
first.
Aussies watching because it is Renegades.
The point being, is that compLexity haven't had the best opportunity on their T side to really flourish. Now, if they're able to get the pistol and get off to a good start on the CT, maybe we might be able to see a bit of a change around it. As smokes go out to the A bomb site, as it gets a bit of information, B bomb site, look, it's free real estate. That's what they think. But Stanislaw goes, actually, it's Sydney housing prices.
Yeah, Stanislaw not too keen to sell his property at the moment and has really saved that round for compLexity. Satisfaction finds 2, however. He's usually pretty sharp with the pistols. That said, there's still 3 to find, and that is too tough of an ask. So the second pistol goes the way of compLexity. Renegades did not get the bomb down, so might expect to see a force buy now. Pistol armor for Azza. The rest are going to follow suit. Grat might just grab a Deagle here, P250. No armor for himself. Some flashbangs for Renegades as well. Let's see what they can do with this buy. At least try to limit the CT economy. That's the name of the game right now for Renegades.
Got 2 flashbangs to work with, so most likely single flashbang to try to get a couple of T's in the connector, and then maybe to try and leverage JKS around his Gratisfaction. Going to be peeking in a window. Most likely going to be spotting out Shazam. Goes the other way around as it deletes Yay, and now Stanislaw has to come in and contribute.
Yeah, Gratisfaction is low, however, so he'll be an easy pick-off despite landing a nice little headshot onto Shazam. I think it might have been through the floor, so it doesn't do too significant damage. JKS has managed to locus A out onto the A site, though, so if he just has a look back toward A main, he might find himself a free kill here, and he does. Android goes down, and JKS with the Desert Eagle. 2 headshots, 2 dead compLexity players. And this opens up A just a little bit now for Renegades. 41 seconds on the clock. They have time to rotate across. JKS has got an MP5, but favoring the Deagle, and you can understand that in this situation. Needs that headshot. Pop flash out for him. Cannot do the deed onto Stanislaw, though. But Liaz's position is so very powerful right now. Jacob unaware, though, that Stanislaw is on the push into the A bomb site. Liaz will trade it out at least. And into the 1v1. Liaz now knows where Def is coming from. Will be able to get the bomb down safe. And now this becomes a winnable round for Renegades. Liaz famed in the Australian region for his clutch ability. Let's see if he can put it on to show here in North America.
Def is going to try and close the gap with the P90. Liaz, he's got the armor, so the P90 not as devastating as it would have been. And that is Renegades just resetting compLexity from the get-go. And what do you say about that JKS Deagle? Let's watch it again. That's just... The first one, it was, look, well-timed. The second one was just filthy. If that happened to me, I'd just...
You'd quit the server.
That's a keyboard slammer and a half sometimes, because you know how much those kills mean. And...
yeah, especially on a round like that as well. compLexity, with the force buy of their own, they'll try to do what Renegades have just done to them. But having lost the first player already, Liaz will find another for himself. It's not painting a pretty picture of compLexity. It's not Bob Ross.
And they know where the last one is, so sure it's not Liaz. I mean, I know he writes it as LYAS over here.
In ESEA, his name is LYAS. So 12-6. And an eco to come from compLexity. How do they come back from this kind of a deficit?
Well, you take a buy round at a time. Each buy round at a time, and hope JKS doesn't walk out and pull out some miracle on you, because let's be realistic, that round did boil down to a couple of sick plays from Renegades. They did manage to take this map control, but oh, that's not the best smoke to be using. Azuz should be punished for this.
I'll try and creep up next to it, see what he can do. Indeed, he does get punished. So does Android. Good one, Def. There's someone still on the A site right now for compLexity at Firebox. No, he's actually at Ninja. They don't know where he is, the silence USP. It doesn't do enough damage to really cause any havoc there for Renegades, but had that been another gun, had it even been a P250, we would have at least found it a kill. Nonetheless, 13's up for Renegades. Nicely negotiated anti-eco. Full buy to come now for compLexity, or as close to a full buy as they are going to get this map. And they must win it. It's a must-win round for compLexity now.
Pretty much, because if they don't grab this one, then they're going to be on Eco or Pistol Armor for the next one. Assuming how Renegades have been navigating so far, they've been trucking along, no troubles at all, so then compLexity. They will definitely be in some trouble.
Az has even hung on to the Galil here, so you can see the confidence for Renegades. They don't even need full weaponry. Maybe another fake toward the B bomb site here, again from Jacob this time. Hot flash, Molotov, some shots in. Is slightly going to draw the rotation across. Def fully commits into the B site. And Ye just floats a little bit further in connector toward mid. Renegades not pulling the trigger just yet on A though. Waiting for Hazard to get in position in mid.
They've only got a single smoke to work with. And this smoke has to go into CT. And Shazam, he's actually gone in front. He's gone towards that triple box. And this is going to be so potent because this smoke grenade, it doesn't matter where you throw it. It is not going to be covering off this position. And Stanislaw, he's just pushed perhaps alongside with Def. They've got all the information in the world. What is going on?
Renegades
It's
biding their time.
it's such a risky play to be making on the side of compLexity, but without utility, you've got to be making risky plays, and this may pay off rewards for them right now. Now Renegades are coming out. That smoke being used at jungle.
Yeah, if the first kill doesn't go the way of Renegades, they are going to be in a spot of bother. Ye pushing through the smoke in a jungle. Jacob and Azza do a drop. Ye is having a great round before being shut down by Gratisfaction, but he's won it there for compLexity. I say Ye, really it was Def and Stanislaw that were pushing through B, wasn't it? And they were the ones that more or less won the round for compLexity. It gave that critical information over to the CT side. Renegades just far too slow.
They didn't know that was the whole thing. They thought they did enough on their basic default where Jacob's like, yeah, we showed presence. I threw a couple of grenades, but compLexity, they took a huge gamble because you can imagine how that pans out. You've got one person, Renegade, sitting default there still waiting. He could punish both of them, just walking in dry. Regardless of how it is, though, you got to be taking some risks to be getting the rewards.
Oh, slowly start that comeback, one round at a time. Jacob spotted, courtesy of Stanislaw. Renegades will be more aware of that boost next time. It's one that you can get away with once, but twice or three times, I don't think Renegades will fall for it.
There's also being tagged through the edge of the wall. Means that he has to concede the position. That's JKS trying to make this play out of A main. Oh my goodness, JKS.
That is a shot. Might be the shot that gets Renegades the round win here as JKS capitalizes on it. Pushes into the A bomb site, opens that one up. Yeah, he is now down. Player advantage for Renegades with a lot of time to play with, and they have some good positioning. Def, however, will get Liaz on the cross to the site, and that at least gives the information to Gratisfaction that he can't take a willy-nilly peek. Azza needs the one here, because he was immediately going to be traded, so at least able to get that. Brings it back to a 2v2, and does allow the bomb to cross. Gratisfaction gets it down. JKS and Gratisfaction now to hold off this retake. JKS from CT spawn gets info. Look at this angle from Gratisfaction.
Oh, that's the filthiest angle that everyone uses these days, and it's going to pay off dividends as well. Oh my goodness, Gratisfaction. Bringing it back like it's 2017 Mirage angles, but JKS also, some of that magic coming out. Yeah. What do you say about that? Just deleting Android, not the easiest shot to be making, but
gets Ye then as well. It's just great work from JKS.
It was just the first shot that was just amazing. You could just play it back again and again and again, and you just be admiring in awe. If I was Android, I'd be like, can't say much about that.
Yeah, like what can you do really? 14-7 though for Renegades, and a tactical timeout from them just to chat things over, let compLexity stew in this pit that they have found themselves in.
In all honesty as well, I mean, what I always advocated for when I was doing coaching and whatnot, like even in scrims and everything, is when you need to talk about something, you just call a pause.
Yep.
And I know it sounds like a bit of a cop-out even when scrimming or whatnot, but I want to go, hang on a moment. The scrims are meant to be used for improvement. This is going to be used for Renegades improvement. So obviously taking 30 seconds right now just to be talking about how they want to close down anti-ecos as well as how they want to play around rounds, really critical as a development of a team. Nothing wrong with doing that even if you're up 14-7. and
Yeah.
you're in a competitive match.
They just want to ensure that they can close this one out. A lot of the time, you'll see matches just string a little bit longer than they need to. This could end up going 16-12, 16-13. Renegades don't want any of that. They want to shut it down here, 16-7 right now, and put compLexity into a really, really poor position heading into their next match, by the way. We're going to be watching compLexity again after this up against NRG, who at the moment are actually kind of going toe-for-toe with Ghost Gaming. Well, that's another story. Just if compLexity do drop here 16-7 on their own map choice, they're not going to be feeling too crash hot about heading into another match right after this. But Renegades making their way into the A site. No real resistance from compLexity at this point.
Pretty difficult to resist in terms of when you've only got USPs, you've only got a few pistols, but Gratisfaction is going to get walked on. Jacob also, he was low from a couple of nades earlier on, so Grat does need to be careful. So does JKS.
I could see this all going wrong for Renegades, actually.
I can see it as well, but I think they've taken a little bit too long. They're actually losing so many picks across the board where all of a sudden it's a 2-4. Time has ticked away quite significantly, but Liaz is here to just spray down and bail out the boys. And Azza's also here as well.
Oh, maybe a little too close for comfort there for Renegades. But inevitably they do get the round win. Economic damage is fairly significant on the side of Renegades, but only if they lose the next few rounds. And they haven't looked like losing a round. Obviously the last one, I suppose, but the gun rounds have been ever so solid. And the buy-through from compLexity is not too bad. There's an alligator for Android. And a little bit of lack of utility for compLexity, but it's a workable buy. 15-7, though, you don't really want to be having a workable buy.
I think Jacob was nearly caught out by the same short boost, so about that.
Yeah.
Alec.
Yummy.
Yep. You don't walk into an XM like that and expect to get away with it. So Renegades, 30 seconds in, compLexity, give him the old 1-2.
Kind of damage can Liaz and Gratisfaction do here, though? Well, there's 2 kills already. Again, these are the 2 new players to the roster. Gratisfaction and Liaz, to my knowledge, have never played on a team together. Maybe in some sort of random pug matches and that kind of thing, but Gratisfaction was a key part of the Greyhound roster that came through from Team Immunity, and Liaz was a key founding member of the Kings that then turned into Order. So both of them have been butting heads against each other in the Australian region, and now find themselves playing together, trying to clutch out this round for Renegades, turn it into that 16-7 that we were speaking about. It is possible, but they'll need to find some very nice entries on this A-bomb site.
And similarly, Stanislaw holding close at B Apartments has gotten all this information. He's pushed in. They're very confident right now it is going to be an A-site hit. And Android just thinking about when to be peeking out. He knows he's got one of his teammates in a ramp, and Liaz trying to transition. Oh, drops the ball top a little bit too late. Gratisfaction going to be caught in a slaughter. No.
No, okay, whatever.
There were 3 people peeking him, so...
Let's just sweep that one under the rug. Renegades don't have money for a buy here. So it will be just some pistols thrown around. They don't need to overcommit to anything in this one. They can let it go. compLexity's money is very low still, though. So damage would still be great for Renegades. If they take guns out of the hands, that means utility out of the hands in the next round. Assuming it is relevant damage, but they need to get quite a few of those guns for Renegades. And there's one. Gratisfaction opens up nicely. Shazam to trade back. More players to deal with, and dealt with quite easily for compLexity.
Good words, by the way.
Yeah, words are hard.
Yeah, solid. Actually, another eco coming out, but Renegades deciding to just get some body armor as well as utility this time around to potentially just throw a wall of smokes and maybe get the bomb plant down. Or even try to win the round from here, who knows? compLexity, though, looking a little bit better now they've got the rifles in their hands. Haven't had as many opportunities to have a buy round and a full set of utility. Got to be making the most of what they have. Down 15-9. I mean, they were down 7 to 15, and we did see earlier today Renegades were down 10 to 15 against compLexity and still brought it back.
Yeah, bit of a bigger comeback needing to be made though by compLexity, but if Renegades can do it, so can compLexity, I'm sure. EA will line up 3. Very easy kills for it. Renegades didn't expect too much out of this round. But a nice one for compLexity, builds that CT economy up.
Oh, come on, Grat, just get back in there. Oh, no. We're going to be sitting around... What have we done?
This is why people don't like New Zealanders. Gratisfaction. I'm sure he'll watch this VOD back. Just so you know. We know.
I mean,
we know what you're doing.
All right, okay. Let's take a look at any other scenario, right? Where he's going to die anyway because they've heard him. Great, I've waited 30 seconds for nothing. It wasn't as if, all right, Renegades needed to deny some economy. Other things needed to happen. It was literally, all right, if I die now, as long as it's not to a knife...
You want some chips for that salt, mate? Well,
I just had to sit around for 30 seconds watching nothing happen, and he just died at the end anyway. It's a good shot from Shazam. I can compliment him on that.
Maybe Gratisfaction thought he could win the round. He was trying to clutch it out.
I don't think this is any ECA pug, just saying. Ain't no rank S pug for Grat to be winning. This is ESL Pro League.
Yeah, true.
And this is compLexity.
ESL Pro League so far this season has been full of surprises, though. Only into the second day, not even halfway through day 2, we've already seen MIBR lose to Ghost. NRG's already dropped a match to Ghost.
Ghosts are genuinely a solid team, though, these days. So it's not as big of a surprise it would have been as Alsa just gets deleted by Depth.
Railed.
Depth charge. And they're still going to be out to A. I don't know what to make of this. It's very staggered.
Well, if they can make the entries work, then it'll work. Jacob does get Yay. Android avoiding the flashbang quite deftly. It works nicely for compLexity. 11 is up now, and Renegades just need to take a breather here, which admittedly they did before that last round. Not let this one get too far ahead of itself, because compLexity are starting to make their way back into this map. Sure, it's only 1 round away for Renegades, but we've already seen one good comeback turn into a map win today. That was Renegades on Dust 2, but compLexity are now within striking distance where you start to feel like they can potentially make this one work. Money is looking good. The rounds are looking good for compLexity. Renegades forced to take another eco. Round by round, compLexity continue their slow march to 15.
We're seeing the comeback now, aren't we? We're going into double overtime again.
Could happen.
It could definitely happen. So, I don't even know what to say in this round, but looking forward into the next couple of rounds, I think Renegades really need to be fighting over this mid area a lot more. They haven't really contested mid so far against compLexity. Admittingly, compLexity, there are some... What compLexity are doing really well on their CT side is that they're changing the way that they take mid a lot of the time, so Renegades are second-guessing themselves a lot, so... Need to be figuring out some way of nullifying this mid control and then trying to take the map from there. And at the same time, then you give away extremities.
Yeah, and compLexity have been pretty good at taking extremities. Azza with a nice shot onto Shazam. Nothing to follow that one up. JKS left alive on his own. He'll drop as well. And back to that point, compLexity have been quite eager to push into Palace, toward the B apartments most certainly. So they have been good at playing that little push and pull game that we like to talk about, where if Renegades will push and take one part of the map, compLexity will pull back, take another part of the map. It's a 50-50, the ebb and flow, the control of the map.
For Renegades, I feel a lot of the time you do have to try and, I don't know, just hold on to a default position for as long as possible and see how it works out. But Jacob, very close. Yay, I think has spotted out a shadow, both sides. Peering at each other.
flash through for Ye. Hasn't spotted anything off the back of it. Has just managed to get up into the smoke. Shazam in a precarious spot here, and it does not manage to land the shot, which will lead to his death. It's a 2-for-1 trade. Better start to the round now for Renegades. Even better now that JKS finds Android. We are seeing this match come to a close. Renegades 4v2. Looking to go for the jugular. compLexity now on their last legs. Stanislaw will stand up tall, however, finding Jacob. And the bomb not yet down for Renegades. So a chance still for compLexity, but does favor Renegades.
Very difficult to also come back into this A-side position. The thing that they do have on their side is time, though, is that bomb had to rotate all the way around. So it's allowed the CTs to get into some nice positions. JKS similarly quite low. Stanislaw looking to peek out just at the right timing. Stanislaw continuing forward. This incendiary grenade is doing a ton of damage. They're both on the same angle. And oh my goodness, compLexity. All they need to do right now is find Liaz, who's just trying to hide away, smoke onto the bomb. They don't know where the last one is.
Will they expect him from Firebox? That's my question. I certainly don't think so. And Liaz, if he gets this kill, that might just win the map. I don't think there's time now for Def, even if he does get the kill onto Liaz. He's done enough, surely, onto the bomb straight away. Liaz doesn't even need the kill. Renegades will win the map. 16 is up, and compLexity, an unfortunate way to end the map for them. It was close to being a clutch win, but... Four and 0 for the NA Pro League so far. Got to put a little bit of a pat on your own back there if you're Renegades, because compLexity, we had questions about whether Renegades were going to be able to beat them. Obviously, compLexity in good form. Renegades with that new roster, but Renegades are looking good with these two new additions, and it's been a decent start to the NA Pro League. Admittedly, there's still a lot of way to go for Renegades. There's still some very, very tough opposition that they have yet to face. But to start off 4 and 0, you really can't be disappointed with that at all.
100%. A lot of positives to talk about for both sides. For Renegades, the character to come back on Dust 2, as well as for Mirage, to get that lead, hit a bit of a stumbling block, but they just thought about what they needed to do. Could have been obviously a lot tighter, but look, criticism, that's just aiming criticism at a newly formed team is pretty harsh. Let's give kudos where kudos is due. And same for compLexity, they weren't looking like their normal state. We did see some looser decisions. When the crunch time came, we kind of saw the glimpses of the compLexity we're used to, but it didn't come around too often. And as a result, I think this is a well-deserved 2-0 victory for Renegades, but I don't think compLexity will take it too harshly at the end of the day.
No, definitely not, but compLexity could definitely take a 0-4 quite harshly. They're going to be going up against NRG in the next match, and you have to say, on paper, NRG right now is a stronger team than Renegades is. So if compLexity can't knock over Renegades, what kind of hope do they have against NRG? Well, it's obviously a different match, different circumstances, anything can happen, but to go down 0-4 on your first day of NA Pro League is not what compLexity are looking for. I am sure of that.
I'll put it this way, right? So Ghost just 2-0 in NRG, where Kusta dropped to 1.44 on Mirage. So that is going to be... I don't know for NRG who was performing well. So NRG, Breezy and Daps were performing well, but they couldn't really match up against that. And I guess that was a discrepancy of firepower at the end of the day, where the match ended up 16-14. Now, on the side of compLexity in this entire game, didn't see anyone that really impressed me. Yeah, Shazam was pretty solid, but unfortunately, solid doesn't really cut it at this stage. When on the side of Renegades, JKS was popping off every now and then Gratisfaction was doing decently well on the CT side, alongside with Azza, who seemed to find a different form as well. Don't know what to say. Wasn't really the standard or normal compLexity I was used to. Expecting a lot more fragging to come out from Ye as well as from Android. Saw a couple of good rounds from Android. Wasn't enough, unfortunately, at the end of the day.
No, definitely was not enough. Renegades with some nice clutch rounds as well. You get those important rounds. That's how you end up closing the map out. I mean, compLexity did stage a very small comeback toward the end there, but it was nothing to get particularly excited about. In the end, Renegades always had it under control. Renegades do have another matchup later on today. I believe that is against Rogue on the mainstream at the end of today. So it's the last match of today. So chance for Renegades even to go 6-0 to start things off. Although Rogue again has a fairly reasonable roster, so we'll see how Renegades do go. I mean, I'm still not yet in a position where I'm sold on saying, okay, Renegades are like a top 5 team in NA Pro League or whatever. Like last season, you had a better sense as to where they would end up or where you expected them to end up. And this season, you know, despite the fact that they've started well, it's been against two, I would say, quote-unquote weaker opponents. They're not like the Team Liquids or the NRGs of the NA Pro League just yet. And so you need to kind of give the context to these results. I mean, compLexity, of course, have had some good form, but last season they placed 10th, with 4 of the core members that have come through from this season. So I'm still waiting to see how high this complexity roster can go, and the same can be said, of course, for Renegades. It's too early in the season right now for us to get an idea as to how everything's going to play.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
that's the beauty of it, right?
yeah, it's a good start, but let's not just place everything in the same eggs and instantly say that Renegades are the best thing to come across in sliced bread or anything. It's day 2 of the Pro League.
It's day 2
let's be
of
realistic.
this Renegades roster as well, really.
Yes.
Anyway, for complexity, what they need to do is kind of go back into the server, go back and practice. So they might need to jump into some ESEA servers, Kevin, and just figure out what's been going on wrong there for Renegades before they jump into this match up against NRG, because that is still going to be a tough one, I think, for the guys on complexity. But looking forward to that second match of ours today. We've still got even another one after that, so lots of Counter-Strike going on here on the NAB stream. But for me, even though NRG do lose that match against Ghost, I'm probably leaning toward NRG for this next match.
100%. It's. I mean, we'll obviously talk about it more in the next section where we're obviously talking about the 2 teams. But NRG coming close against Ghost, it is making it really hard to read into it, because was it the firepower that reigned supreme? Was it the strategy? We'll have to find out, because I know Ghost definitely have the structure as well as the ability just to go huge. We saw Kusta going huge and flexing on NRG. Who knows who's going to be flexing against each other in the next matchup?
Well, we are going to find out. First, though, we will head to a break, but don't go anywhere, guys. We've got complexity again, and they'll be going up against NRG in our second match of the day.